I am a clinically diagnosed psychopath, ask me anything. Hi. I am a clinically diagnosed psychopath, 24 years old, male. I feel like psychopaths are very misunderstood in popular culture, so I wanted to make this AMA to hopefully give people a better idea of how the mind of a psychopath works. And that we are not all necessarily evil serial killers, or bad people, just different. So please, feel free to ask me anything.
How do you interpret being a psychopath? Like, which attributes of being one do you feel like makes you different than everyone else the most? Is the psychopaths can't be empathetic thing true?
Since I was quite young, I realized that I experienced the world differently than other people. As a kid I just took all of that for granted and thought that everyone is like me. Biggest thing is probably emulating emotions and emotional reactions and body language, but then I found out that no, normal people don't actually fake all of that. I think emulating emotions is a huge part of what makes me different. For most things I know exactly how I should react, so on autopilot I've gotten used to just automatically faking whatever is appropriate in a given situation, but inside there is very little emotional reaction, most of the time nothing. Sometimes I really do feel strong emotions, sometimes I feel what I should, just in a very weak kind of way, so I exaggerate it if other people are around. The no empathy thing is BS, at least for me. Most of all I hate seeing innocent children or animals getting hurt. I feel strongly that that kind of stuff should never happen. But at the same time many people that I have known have died and I felt nothing in many other situations where people usually do feel bad or guilty, but I just lack any of that. Empathy certainly also is like a switch. I can totally not care at all, or if I want, I can imagine myself as whoever else to feel how they would feel. I would also say very good at lying if I have to, great charisma, very good at getting women, have short relationships, hard to commit. In the last year and a half I had 7 women one after another, with all of them getting to a point where they told me they low.
Do you ever feel like you want to not have this condition? I mean, does it bother you, or, since you've always had this, you're used to it and don't care much about how it would be like not to be a psychopath? And one last question, about your relationships. In all your relationships so far, can you say that you've ever loved someone back, even to a small degree? If not, do you think that you're not capable of it, or is it that you haven't found a special someone yet?
So the only negative I would say is that it can get tiresome faking emotions, especially in situations where everyone is really emotional for a long period of time. I am very happy with who I am as a human, and could not picture it any other way. I think I have many advantages compared to most average people. Although sometimes I really do wonder, just in simple moments like people doing small talk and laughing at jokes, I wonder like wow, what must that feel like? To just be you and accepted without having to kind of pretend to be a normal human. That seems just so bizarre and alien to me. But I do have friends of course and people who I can be more of myself with. I feel most myself with women because being close and intimate I can very clearly describe what I feel and why, so they would get it, but still never quite fully. Yes, so I don't think I have ever loved anyone. I love the feeling of affection and admiration, and it's really nice to kiss and cuddle and sleep together. And I certainly can provide genuine affection, like truly wanting her to feel good, even if just in the moment. But I also wonder if I do that just because if I am very good to her she will be very good to me, still not sure. But love, in my head I can picture this perfect woman who I could love, but in reality so far have not. I do not know if I can love, I would like to think I can. And no, it's totally fine, it's fun to answer and makes me think about stuff I have not thought about in a while.
What do psychopaths think about, especially when they're angry?
So as far as thoughts go, I think that is more or less pretty normal, anything depending on what your interests are. I think about things I got to do, things I want to do and how to do them. I think a lot about natural sciences, the universe and psychology. Music and song lyrics to write, it's just a really broad topic, anything and everything is the answer. For anger, I have always been very good at controlling my anger. Because my logic always overrides my anger, or any feeling or emotion, I always think what is best for me in this situation, and anger is very rarely useful in our modern world. But true anger is strange, like anyone who makes you angry has almost done an injustice to the world. It can be pretty blinding rage for very simple things if just left to grow and fester. But I feel anger very rarely, because I am as good as I can to people, it makes life easier.
How does your condition affect your relationships with people? Is it difficult to make friends? What does friendship mean for you? Are you manipulative or have you ever caught yourself manipulating someone without realizing it at first? If so, how close you were to the manipulated person?
Just like everyone else, there are also many different types of psychopaths. So it's actually really easy for me to meet new people and get to be friends, but not so much as the true me, just as being whatever person they are most likely to want to be friends with, the social chameleon type deal. Friendship to me means understanding and acceptance, trust, well-wishing and common goals and interests. So the older I have gotten, the less manipulative I become. In regular social interaction, there are situations where I am manipulative, but that's only if I have a very particular goal that this person can help with. But otherwise, just friends and love interests, I absolutely try to be more and more myself, or at least a more real version of myself, because I realize that there is no point to have fake relationships. I want real human connection, not to waste time on something that's not real. In my life I have manipulated pretty much everyone at one time or another, but so have you, even if you do not know it and your methods are different. And it's totally fine. I am sorry you had a bad experience. Buttholes come in many different shapes and sizes.
How do you feel towards your parents? How is your relationship with them and other family members? Do you feel like they look at you differently knowing your diagnosis?
I very much appreciate everything they have done for me and we are close. I also have an older brother and we get along really well, at least when we see each other. Actually no, I have always been a good child as far as they know. I have of course had some issues with them, but what kid hasn't? I think since I act so normally and there has been no talk of my psychopathy for years. I think it's something that they either forgot or just avoid thinking about, and I have given them no reason to think about it. It is important to me that we get along well.
Do you have children? Or want to in the future? Any concerns about it?
I don't have children. I don't have a specific plan about it. If one day I truly manage to find a woman I can truly relate to and share some interests, then I am happy to have kids. I have no worries about it. I think it would be exciting to have a child to mold into a beautiful, interesting and happy human being, and I could give them love, or at least something very close to it.
Do you have any sympathy or empathy towards animals?
Yes, I love animals, and sometimes I like them way more than people. I despise anyone who would harm an innocent animal. The angry side of me would wish people like that tortured and dead, but the rational side of me knows that they have probably had a very difficult, dysfunctional and unhappy life, and obviously they are not mentally well, and it is not their fault that they ended up with a brain that makes them hurt animals. I think I like animals because they are real and genuine, just doing their thing and living. I think that in nature in general is beautiful.
I've read that those diagnosed with psychopathy excel in career paths that are considered more cutthroat and competitive, like finance and higher up corporate positions. What career are you in? Do you feel like it's well suited to your personality?
So there are many different types of psychopaths. With any mental condition there is always a spectrum. Things in nature are rarely only black or white. Some are very aggressive and cutthroat, but others not necessarily so much in that way, more calm I would say. Overly social jobs would exhaust me. I am great with people, but I just don't want to spend all my energy on people. Currently I do freelance translation jobs. Fits me perfectly as I can work from home and don't need to be around people. I very much enjoy doing stuff on my own. But I can certainly see how, just doing things for yourself, not caring about stepping on anyone else to get what you want, not feeling bad about firing people, lying and manipulation, yes, that is very useful in such jobs, and I am sure a big part of people in such positions are psychopaths or at least have some psychopathic traits.
In what ways do you manipulate people in your life? As in, what are some things you try to obtain or achieve through manipulating people? Also, what are your go-to tactics?
So mostly just by talking. Talking can get a lot done. Some examples: to get the girl I want, I am just the best possible guy, whatever she needs, wants and hopes me to be I can be. Thankfully a lot of that often overlaps with who I actually am. Getting jobs, talking about experiences as if I've actually had them, and also personality traits that they are looking for. Also great for reducing conflict, making friends, pretty much any situation where it is good to be a certain way, skillful manipulation can help. Go-to tactic firstly would be don't be a butthole, makes life so much easier. Actually listening to people and paying careful attention to what they say, when they say it and how they say it. What helps a lot is just looking at your own body language and behavior. How do you react in a given situation, like down to the smallest detail? How do you move your body, your arms, your head, your eyes, your feet, your tone of voice, how fast you are speaking? Plus so much more, and put all of that together for happy, sad, confused, anxious, all emotions. And then little by little you build up a kind of behavioral database of honest emotional responses and can use them anytime, even if it is not correct with how you actually feel inside at that moment. Hope that makes some sense.
When you meet women, is it something you tell them? Or just keep a secret? If you don't, have any of them ever figured it out and called you out on it?
No, I have never told anyone except my best friend. And no one has ever figured out. It is one of those things that, it is like such an absurd thought to people. Even if someone acts strange or is rude or whatever the person does, the last thing you think that this person is a psychopath. It just does not occur to people.
There are little signs or red flags people with these disorders display, but you would never pick up on them unless you've researched them. If you agree with that last statement, what would be your advice on a red flag that someone's dealing with your condition?
Yes, those signs can be avoided also, but I guess if you stick around long enough, sooner or later the psychopath would slip up. It's interesting you mention this though, and kind of funny, like sometimes I do really tiny inappropriate things on purpose, like everyone is sad and then I smile for a split second or roll my eyes, just for my own amusement. Silly things like that. There is some weird to explain strong urge to do that sometimes, but no one ever notices. Well, I hope you can appreciate that I could read your last sentence as being a bit offensive. To me there is nothing wrong with me. I believe I am better at some things than normal people are, worse in some others of course. I think variety is great in the world. As long as that variety does not go around hurting other people for no reason. But it is difficult to say. I mask any flags I have so well that I could not even think of any, maybe the stuff I said before. But I think that's just my own odd thing I do. I would say, tell them that you love them, and see how they say it back to you. For me it has been so comical at times, like a girl said it to me one time and I thought in my head, okay, this is a big moment for her, I should wait about few seconds more and then stutter I love you too, but that kind of thought of course happens in a split second. It is not like a fully formed sentence in my head, it is all quick and intuitive. But now I'm just ranting. I would say just talk about emotions a lot. Like how does this make you feel and then look for small signs of boredom or annoyance. Hope this makes sense.
Have you ever felt happy? If so, can you tell us about a time that pops out? Have you ever genuinely cried? Also please tell us about any time that you have intentionally sought to bring someone down or elevate yourself at someone's significant expense.
I am not sure if my happy is the same as everyone else's happy. But I certainly can feel very good. In moments of very great art, beautiful music, great sex, satisfaction if I have done and got what I wanted. Happiness as a state of mind I do lack, it is a very fleeting thing for me. I can have the best day, people love me, I get a promotion, whatever. The elevated feeling is gone in minutes if not seconds and it's like nothing happened. I have never cried. Once, as a really young kid, I was at a funeral and everyone else was doing it. It was a really weird experience. So those times have just been mostly mind games. There was one guy who was talking bad about me. I befriended his friends and told them stories of him, very believable stories of how he is an untrustworthy coward with super weird interests. Some things that I remember saying was that he gets turned on by old people and that he stole money from me. Next time we met all together, I put him in situations in the conversation where I could confirm what I told his friends before in a way that he did not even realize. Oh, the looks that they all gave each other. Priceless. It was fun and I think it left a lasting impact. He was not invited out after that. I also slept with his girlfriend and sent him a picture of it. But just brute force intelligence and quick-witted jokes and comebacks can do a great job most of the time. One time I put a large dose of antipsychotics, they make you really sleepy, in one butthole kid's drink who was a dick to me. After the class ended and recess began, I saw he was slightly stumbling out of the classroom door. I run up to him and just pushed him to the floor. Everyone laughed and looked at what's wrong with him. Fun crazy times as a kid. Thanks for listening to Radio TTS. Subscribe and like for more interviews aka Ask Me Anything videos. Find the original thread in the description below and let me know what answer you found most fascinating.